Hey everybody, welcome to Chatting with Chops, or welcome back. So glad you came back. Today we are going to make a turtle cheesecake and we're going to make homemade caramel sauce. So let's get started. All right, time to start the caramel. So what we want to do, we're going to put 2 cups of sugar in a large saucepan. There we go. And then we're going to put it on medium-high heat. The recipe tells us, goes ahead and warns us that the sugar is going to clump up at first, but then it'll eventually completely melt. And this is supposed to take about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set the timer so that we can kind of see if it really does take that long. And I'm just going to kind of slowly whisk this as we go. Okay, we're starting to get a few little clumps. I'm not sure a whisk was the best tool for this job. Okay, so we have it all the way melted. It took about 8 minutes, it looks like. And so now we're just gonna let it change colors just a little bit. Now we have removed it from the heat and we're gonna add our butter. We have a half a cup of room temperature butter we're gonna add. Ooh, hear that sizzle. And we're gonna whisk this. It's gonna bubble up some because you just added room temperature butter to a very hot mixture. And we're just waiting for the butter to melt. So far so good, guys. We might have caramel. All right, we've got the butter melted. Now the recipe is asking us to add our 1 cup of whipping cream, room temperature, and it does recommend to just add a little bit of it at first. My caramel is thinned out a little bit, and now I'm supposed to add the rest of the 1 cup of room temperature whipping cream. This is heavy whipping cream too. Oh my goodness, I think we made caramel, guys. All right, now I've got my measuring cup right here. I'm just gonna pour 1 cup of this in here. And then the remainder of this, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. And then we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of chopped up pecans. And again, we are making our caramel sauce for this turtle cheesecake. So now that we've stirred that in really well, we're just going to let this sit to the side and we're going to begin making our cheesecake crust. Okay, so we've got our pan ready. Now we're going to make the crust. Now this is 2 cups of graham crackers. I don't know how you purchase your graham crackers, but mine come in little packets like this. And so to make 2 cups, it took 1.5 of these packets. Again, I don't know if that measurement is going to be helpful to you, but it might help some. So we've got 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs, and then we're going to take our 1/2 cup of salted butter that's been melted, and we're going to pour that in. And then we have 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're going to plop that in. And then we have 1/4 cup of pecans that have been chopped up. And we're just going to mix this all together. We're just trying to get all the ingredients mixed in and get that butter mixed around so that we have a nice wet crust. And if I haven't already told you, we're preheating the oven at 325 right now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this in our spring foam pan and we're going to spread it around and try and see if we can get it to go up on the sides a little bit. Okay, that went pretty easily. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this in our 325-degree oven and we're going to cook it for about 10 minutes. All right, there we go. That's 325-degree oven for about 15 minutes. I wanted to get a nice good brown on it. So now we're just gonna set this aside and let it cool, and we will make our other components of this cheesecake. All right, so the next step in making our cheesecake is we're gonna be cooking our cheesecake in a water bath. So we need to give him a little seat in some aluminum foil. So I have made my aluminum foil around my pan, and I'm just gonna put it around so that the bottom is all nice and sealed up, so when it goes in the water bath, it won't seep into my beautiful crust I've made. And so now we're gonna put that aside. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we have made our aluminum foil for our little water bath later, and we're preheating our oven to 300 degrees, and now we're gonna take the caramel sauce that we made that we put the pecans and flour in, we're gonna pour this over the bottom of our cheesecake. Okay. Well, that's pouring beautifully. That's gorgeous. See those lovely pecans in there? I'm just gonna, I don't wanna disturb the crust any, but I'm just gonna try and spread this out a little bit. All right, now we're ready for our next layer. All right, so the next step, we need to make our beautiful chocolate layer that goes on the bottom of our cheesecake. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 6 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and we're gonna put that in a small saucepan. We're gonna bring that up to boiling. Let me clarify, we wanna bring that up to where it's just about to boil. So we just have a few little bubbles on the side so far. We wanna get a little bit more than that. Okay. Now we're gonna take 4 ounces of our chocolate chips and pour it into our heavy whipping cream. And we're just gonna let those sit there for a few minutes so that they can melt. Okay. All right, so the next thing we need to do with this is we need to pour it over our beautiful caramel sauce we have here. All right, now we're gonna set this aside so that we can make our actual cheesecake filling. So what we need to do in a large bowl is we need to put our 24 ounces of cream cheese. That is a lot of cream cheese, isn't it? All right, and then we are going to put our 1 cup of brown sugar in. And then we have 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. We're gonna drop that in. Now the recipe says we need to keep this on really low speed because we don't want to beat a whole lot of air into this mixture because it'll make our cheesecake crack, but we do have to be careful that we don't break our mixer at it too. Okay, here we go. All right, I want to scrape down the sides. Make sure we get everything mixed in. All right, now the next thing we need to add in is our sour cream. So we have 8 ounces of regular sour cream. Okay, and then we're gonna put in 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla bean paste. And then we're gonna mix this in real well, on low. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is start adding in, wait a minute, let's do a good scrape down. I see a little bit of vanilla bean paste over here. Now we're gonna start putting our eggs in one at a time. All right, now. All right, so we're gonna put this over the chocolate mixture. And again, we're gonna try and do this gently so that we don't interrupt everything that's already going on here. So I'm just kind of letting this go around the edges. It is very heavy, by the way. This is a lot of cheesecake. I may not need all of this, because again, the recipe was for a 9-inch spring foam pan and mine is an 8-inch. So, as far as I know, cheesecakes don't rise. So we should be okay. I'm just gonna do one more good. Okay, so now is when we're gonna actually make our little water bath for our cheesecake. So I have my larger pan. So I've got my larger pan that I'm gonna put my cheesecake in, along with his aluminum foil. And then I'm gonna fill up the sides with warm water. But I don't want to go up past where my aluminum foil is, because I don't want the water to be able to get anywhere near the actual cheesecake. All right, so we have the water in there, nice warm water, and we're going to put this in the oven at 300 degrees, and we are going to cook it for 1 hour and 35 minutes. I know that sounds like a really long time, but we're going to cook it in there for 1 hour and 35 minutes until the center is just set, but it'll still be a little wiggly. All right, so we've cooked it on 300 degrees for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and it says that it's supposed to be set, but the middle should still be jiggly. That looks very jiggly. I think I'm going to give that about 10 more minutes. So we had to remember that our pan is a little bit smaller than the one that was recommended. So we have given it some extra time in the oven, and that looks so much better to me. I'm much happier with that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the oven off, close up the door, and let our little cheesecake sit for 30 minutes. Our next step for our cheesecake, we've let it sit here for 30 minutes with the door shut and the oven off. And now we're going to just crack it a little bit so that it has a chance to cool the rest of the way for 30 minutes. All right, here is the finished product. All right, so what we need to do is we need to get our lovely little cheesecake out of this water bath. Is get this out of the way. I used up almost all of that water. All right, so let's bring him back down. We need to get this aluminum foil out of the way. Oh, he's looking good so far. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to put about 1/2 cup of the caramel sauce that we created earlier on the top layer of the cheesecake. And I have warmed it up in the microwave for about 10 seconds just because it was a little thick. So let's see. We don't want to use all of it. I'm going to try and do just a little light drizzle. Okay, so that's about 1/2 cup. And then we are just going to stick this in the fridge. And it says to cool it for about 5 to 6 hours, but I have a feeling I'm probably just going to do it overnight. And I'm just trying to slowly spread out this caramel just a little bit. All right, so we're just going to let him sit overnight, and then I'll bring you back and we will do the top drizzle for him. We've let this beautiful cheesecake sit overnight, and we have just almost brought to a boil 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream and 2 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and we're almost ready to stir those. And then the next thing we need to do, I've heated up the caramel, so that's going to be our topping, but we need to get our cheesecake out of this pan. So let's give our chocolate a quick stir. But let's try and see if we can get this cheesecake out first. All right. And we're going to try desperately to see if we can get this cheesecake out of here. Guys, I don't know. Let's see. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. You see that? Beautiful. That is just gorgeous. For right now, I'm just gonna see if I can get it off the bottom here. There is parchment paper that we put on the bottom. I'm just gonna give it a little, oh my goodness, I think it's gonna come off for me. I'm just running the knife around the bottom edges to try and get the parchment paper to let go. Oh, stuck my finger in the caramel. All right, that's okay, I'm about to cover it up. Oh my gosh, that did fantastic. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna warm up our chocolate just a little bit. All right, so we're gonna put the chocolate and the caramel both on the top here. I'm hoping that my cake pan here is tall enough to hold all of this. All right, let's give another beautiful drizzle. My chocolate seems to be a little bit thick. That looks gorgeous. All right, we're just gonna let that sit here and rest for a few minutes, and then we'll cut into it and see how fabulous it tastes. We're gonna try and see if we can cut a slice of this cheesecake. It is so pretty, I almost don't want to cut it. I Googled online and it said you should use a hot knife to cut a cheesecake. So we're gonna try that. And it also recommended that you cut from the outer edge in, not like a normal cake where you go down like this. You're supposed to go like this. So let's give it a try. Now I will say you do have a record of the first piece is always looks the worst. Ooh, that is firm and thick. Let's see what we can do here. So from the outer, and I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm really having to put some force into that. Okay, now let's see. Ooh, so far so good. Please come out pretty. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Oh my gosh, look how gorgeous that looks. Got a little crack on the end there, but that's okay. All right, look at that. That is just beautiful. All right, so let's taste it and see how it tastes. Sorry about my hair, it's super hot here in Georgia, and I took a shower tonight to try and cool off a little bit. All right, so let me show you. Make sure it doesn't slide off, but we've got the beautiful crust, we've got a caramel layer, a chocolate layer, and then we have our beautiful cheesecake layer. And then on the top, we have more caramel and more chocolate. So let's taste it and see how it is. Try and see if I can get a little bit of everything here. Oh, isn't that pretty? That is heaven. That is some seriously good cheesecake right there. That is a beautiful homemade, from scratch, everything cheesecake. Hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next bake.